You know, ladies and gentlemen, the question is down there in the title. But, you know, everybody always wonders exactly, and I've even seen this at forums like the Toon Zone and many others. But the question a lot of people always ask, if you will, was, who is the better partner for Bonkers? Was it Lucky Pacal or was it Miranda Wright? Well, some people might say Lucky, just to show favoritism, if you will, and show a little bit of sympathy for him basically being like the first original partner. But got a little bit of trivia for you guys. You see, Miranda, and I think I've talked about this before, but in case you don't know and you need a refresher, Miranda was the original before the original. Yeah, she was original before the original. What that means is, when they started creating the show, Miranda was penciled in and even drawn in as Bonkers' first and only partner. Unfortunately, about 46 to 45, or 45 to 46 of the episodes that she was in were technically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, anybody wants to, were the episodes that she was in, those episodes were basically trashed, or pulled, if you will. You see, according to numerous reports, basically the episodes came off disastrous. And I apologize for the noise in the background. That's the microwave. I'm cooking me up some lunch. But basically the episodes came back disastrous. In other words, they came back not in the best quality. I think one of the rumors were, or one of the news sources were, that they came back, that the animation quality was just bad or something like that. So what they did is they took out the guy named Dwayne Capizza, and I think Greg Weismer, who you know as the person behind Gargoyles. They took them out and put in Larry Lantham, I think that's his name, to be the new creative person behind Bonkers. And basically what Larry Lantham did, and I've admitted this before, and it was a smart move, he gave Bonkers an origin on how he became a cop. And instead of sticking with the Miranda formula, which of course it was the original idea, he decided to give Bonkers a partner in Lucky Pacal. Now, of course, a lot of people would wonder, okay, well, what about Miranda? Because here's another little bit of trivia some of you don't know. Miranda's episodes were actually aired in the spring of 1993 during the spring preview of the Bonkers show. That's not a lie either. They were actually shown in the Disney Channel preview during the spring of that year. But when the show came on in syndication, they were nowhere to be found until about mid-October 1993, and I remember this very, very well. Because around mid-October 1993, the episode New Partners on the Block came on, and this basically, what I consider, and everybody is in agreement with this, was a transitional episode for Bonkers, if you will, going from Lucky as a partner to Miranda Wright as a partner. And thus, kind of gave an explanation as to how Bonkers and Miranda became a team. So it kind of connected both versions, both series, if you will, together. and sort of served, in my opinion, as a mid-season finale, mid-season 1 finale. It's sort of because people look at Lucky's episodes mostly as season 1. So you can say it was kind of like a season 1, a mid-season finale, and the Miranda ones was basically a season premiere finale. So basically, New Partners on the Block, basically, honestly, just was the Lucky season finale, was the Lucky Piquel season finale. Well, I think it was Witless to the Prosecution was the Miranda season finale, was the Miranda Wright season premieres. Depending on how you look at it. If you go to Wikipedia and several other sites, they'll give you 4 different seasons. They'll give you the Miranda ones that were aired on Disney as season 1. They'll give you the Lucky ones that was aired starting with Going Bonkers for season 2. They'll give you the Miranda ones that came after New Partners as season 3. And then some of the Lucky episodes that didn't make it, along with a mixture of Miranda episodes. And basically for season 4, they give you a mixture of Miranda and Lucky. But if you wanted to look at it just as 2 straight seasons, Lucky's episodes came first. So basically, if you want to look at it from a syndicated standpoint, from a fall lineup standpoint, the Lucky episodes was season 1, the Miranda episodes was season 2, New Partners was the season 1 finale. Yeah. If you want to look at it from that standpoint. And, I know I'm probably not the only one that kind of looks at it that way. But now the question is, who was better? Who was the better partner for Lucky? For Bonkers. Who was better? Well, trying to put some mustard on these hot corn dogs. There we go. Well, that's kind of something that's up for debate, is it not? It's kind of something that's going to be up for debate for many years. But again, the question is, who was better? Well, again, people might show favoritism to Lucky because he was if you look at it, like I say, from a fall lineup standpoint, the original. But I think the reason people kind of favor Lucky, like I said, favor him too, is because you got to feel sorry for the guy you got to feel sorry for somebody that wants to take his job seriously, gets the promotion he's wanted, gets his first promotion that he's wanted from being a patrol cop to being a detective, but in turn, when he gets that promotion, he ends up as part of the inaugural Toon. Basically, he ends up as part of the Toon division instead of getting like a promotion as a detective to being like, the serious stuff. You know what I mean? So more like the serious stuff. But anyway, that's why I feel people kind of favor him a little bit, because they feel sorry for the guy. Having to, he gets his promotion, but instead of getting promoted to like to really, to what he was hoping for, he gets what he was hoping for, but he ends up becoming part of the Toon division, where most of the cases are Toon related. If you know what I mean. Some aren't, some are. But again, you got to feel sorry for that's why some people kind of favor him, because you got to feel sorry for him, because he's got to go through that. But then again, when you look at it from the other side, why people favor Miranda is because Miranda was more tolerable of Bonkers' actions. In fact, there was even at times she would encourage it. In fact, if you take a look at the episode, The Toon That Ate Hollywood, I think that's what it's called. She actually embraces Bonkers' antics that she's been around. Actually embraces Bonkers' antics as a tune and uses that to defeat the Gagzilla tune monster. Well, okay. Again, like I said, uses it to defeat the Gagzilla tune monster. I'm sorry for that interruption there. I got to let my dog in. And you would think, well, here, wait a minute. Lucky never really did that much. The closest he ever did was the episode Color Me Piquel, and that was it. He didn't really, do what Miranda did in the Tune That Ate Hollywood episode. And what's funny about this, is there are some fans out there that actually have done fan fiction stories because basically they favor Miranda because she was more tolerable and more accepting. There's actually some fans out there that have written fan fiction stories, believe it or not, where Bonkers and Miranda get together, not just as partners, not just as best friends, but as a couple. Now, I know you might freak at hearing that, but here's the thing. One of these fan fiction writers actually writes a few episodes, not a few episodes, but a few fan fiction stories. Well, Bonkers basically, because of an accident that nearly killed him, has to basically get a redesign and becomes more of almost a humanized version of himself. I mean, he's still himself, but he's more humanized than anything. More of a, well, you kind of get what I'm getting at. Think anime, if you will. Like I said, think anime, if you will. But anyway, yeah, that's just an example of how much fans actually favor those two together. Or favor Miranda over Lucky. Because she was more tolerable. She was more accepting. I mean, take a look at the episode Crippling Rivalry. She stood up for Bonkers. And then there's a fan fiction story that's very similar to where she stands up for him again. And now I know some people might say, well, there's hints here and there that you have to really, look out for. Yeah, that might be true, but still, the point is, there are going to be those that favor one over the other. But I asked the question of who do you think was the better partner? Me personally, I like them both. I like Lucky because, he was a guy that tried to take his job seriously. He wanted to take his job, he wanted to take things seriously. He wanted Bonkers to take things seriously. But there were at times he would realize, you know what? I'm going to let Bonkers do his thing and see where we go from there. So I like that. I like the fact that he was willing to tolerate Bonkers, even though sometimes he would end up on the worst end of the situations. Miranda, on the other hand, I liked her because she was more tolerable than Lucky. You got to give her that. She was willingly embracing what Bonkers had done and encouraging it. And again, the episode, The Tune That Ate Hollywood, is a good example. So, to me, it's kind of a toss-up, sort of a toss-up, but I think I have to give the edge, and you could agree with me or not, I have to give the edge to Miranda. I really do, because she is a little bit more tolerable of Bonkers' actions than Lucky was at times. And I just feel she was a bit of a better partner than he was. And the thing is, did you ever notice at times that Lucky stood up for Bonkers? I mean, he did, but she stood up for him more than he has. And again, like I said, she was willingly embracing and encouraging what he, who he was and what he did. So that's just my opinion. Now, again, I ask you a question. Who do you think was better, Miranda or Lucky? I'll leave it up to you. Comment down below, and I'll talk to you later.